What's going on, people? Chelsea 2, Palace 1. Nearly 2 months now without a win. 4 months since we won a game at home. Last away win was about 2 months ago, and it's going to be a heated show based on what happened behind the scenes, because of course you lot didn't see it, but a lot of people are getting blamed for this downfall. But as always, people, the way that you can help us, the way that we can grow this community so more of you can have your say on the game in the live comment section and by joining us is by hitting the like button. So if you can hit the like button, if we can get over 150, 200 likes, leave down your comments in the comment section down below. That will be much appreciated. As always, the lines will be open. But before we do open the lines, I do want to give Patrick and AJ their say on the game. When then afterwards, you can join us live and the link will be posted. But look, I'm just coming back from the watch along. So, frustrating to watch that 9 minutes. Of course, to lose like that last minute goal conceded against. Sloppy from Palace. There's no other ways of putting it. But, I'm going to have my say later on down the show. I want to give the floor to Patrick first. Patrick, 2-1 defeat against Chelsea. You did say before the game in our chat that you didn't see any other result other than a defeat because of the past. But what did you make of the game?
Hodgson's got to go. He's got to go. Listen, I had people actually, funny enough, saying that I have been overly negative. I've said it. People who know or watch the shows from last year know I have never been a Hodgson fan. Yes, he kept us up. But I even when he came out last year, I didn't want him to come back because I said it. Anyone could have kept us up last year. And all he has done has brought in a bunch of negative football. All he plays for is for George. We haven't won a game since it's Burnley, right? The last win was Burnley was the last win, right? Burnley away was the last win. It's just negative, boring football. He had the chance to bring out young players like França and Hamada. Today, França comes on. When we concede a goal, he brings on França. I mean, now he's just trolling the fan base. He's just trolling us because no problem with Schlupp coming on, but you got to make 2 subs. He has played the same 10 players, I'm pretty sure, besides Eze, for like the last 4 matches straight. It's been the same lineup, It's been Richards, Gahey, Anderson, Mitchell, Klein, Mateta runs his backside off today. You could tell at the end of the game the guy is done. Chelsea made 4 subs. We made 1 sub. Listen, man. Was it better today at parts? Yes. But he has to go. He does not play progressive football. It's boring. It saps your strength. It's depressing. I can't take it anymore. Call me what you want. I don't care what people in the chat want to say. Call me negative. Call me whatever. I cannot take Hodgson anymore. He's going to get us relegated. He's going to. But again, as you always say, this is on Parish and the board, for bringing him back and then keeping him again. But more importantly, we didn't sign any players. But at this point now, Hodgson has to go. And I don't care who takes over. I don't care if it's McCarthy, Cooper, Lopetegui. It does not matter. Roy Hodgson has to go. If not today, by Saturday. Because we are now 3 points off of Luton, who have a game in hand. He has to go. I can't take it anymore. I don't know how you guys feel about it, about the negative football or the football in general. I watch along with you and Hambo, D, but I'm telling you right now, I can't take it anymore. He has to walk.
AJ, your thoughts on the situation right now? Another defeat this time against Chelsea. Patrick, of course, very vocal in terms of wanting to keep Roy Hodgson at the club. But for you, would you want to keep him?
First things first, just so we are clear, especially to certain people with American accents on this video, Roy out. I want him gone. I wanted him gone for a while. Like, I was done with this man from the minute he was coming out of the media and attacking kids. It was crazy.
Yeah, but before you go on, you wanted him back last year. Yes or no? Be honest. I
have a caveat to that said question, to that answer, Patrick.
That's fair. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
When Patrick Vieira was sacked, on this channel, I was one of the first to talk about how heartbroken and mashed up and gutted I was about that. However, I did go down the road of saying, you know what? While Roy is here, I will back him. And I'll put my hands up to that because I was one of the first to turn around to say that also. That being said, he's had his time. He did what he needed to do for us and got us over the line at the end of the season, and he should have rolled off into the sunset. And in this context, fucked off, because right now we're 3 points away from relegation, right? 3 points. You got the likes of Luton and Sheffield United that have all of a sudden actually know how to score goals and play at least half decent football. You've got Roy just sitting in the dugout. Do you know my missus was sitting next to me watching the game, right? And bless her, her football knowledge is not nowhere near mine anyway. And she's sitting again. Why is he sitting in the? Why is he just sitting there? Why is he just smiling in his chair? Like, if my missus that don't know football can clock that, what message does that send to the rest of the team? To the rest of the squad? The problem with Roy Hodgson, right, is he is reactive, not proactive. He didn't make those changes until we conceded that goal. Then on top of that, he brings on, in fact, forget who he brought on. I'm not even going to get into that because that's another set of politics I can't even get into, otherwise I'm going to be here all night. But he made one change. Then he brought on Francois at the 89th minute and expected us to pull something out of our asses. The man is done out here. Like, bro, if Hodgson stays, relegation. If you think things are bad now, wait until you got to lose, 50 to 100 million of income per year. Then you got to be all turned up and going up, like, going to places like Rotherham and Plymouth on a Wednesday and a Thursday evening and all the rest of it. Then we lose all of our air quote star players that are left in the team. Big man, this guy is done out here. He's done. He's too old to be working. I don't care how ages it sounds. I don't give a fuck. He needs to go. He did what he did. And I'm starting to really get into that element of forgetting everything he's done for us. And I'm actually starting to really dislike the man with a passion. But at the same time, this is where the chairman needs to step up and do his fucking job and turn around and say, you know what? Results aren't up here. Roy, thank you for your services. Let's keep it moving. Go and get Steve Cooper, Lopetegui, Paddy. I don't care, bro. We just need to change. We just need something different. Because right now, we've got all this quality on the pitch, but it's not transgressing into results. Chelsea were there for the taking today. I do not care, bro. Like, anybody that watched that game knows we could have got a way better result out of that. Granted, Eze had them there. It happens. Like, it is what it is. He's brought himself credit in the bank for what he's done for us for a period of time thus far. But for me, bro, I'm done. I'm done. Hodgson out. Do not tell man nothing. Ran over.
Now, yeah, look, the lines are open. I know a few people are joining in. We'll have you on in about a few minutes' time. So, the link is posted. I can't actually pin it. I don't know why it's not letting me pin it. There's a lot of people that wants to have to say today. But yeah, look, I guess we can all say Hodgson out, but I just want to quickly talk about the game a bit as well, because I know lots of people want to talk about Hodgson. I don't think it was a terrible performance. I think in the second half we had a few moments as well. Maybe this goes back down to the manager, but Eze in the second half, was he a bit knackered? That was a lazy challenge from him as well. Mateta, but then again, with France, there's a debate there, right? But with strikers, have we backed Hodgson enough in the summer window? Do we think, Patrick, in the first place? Does it go back down to the owners as well as Hodgson?
Again, we've had discussion there. It's not about that, because when you back the man, he doesn't play the players. I'm tired of having the conversation. I know what you're trying to say, buddy. I really do understand what you're trying to say. But why back him when he won't play players that you buy for him?
Then why bring him in the first place? If that's the case, then why bring him in the first place? If that's the case, that's what I don't like. If we knew that was the case, then why bring him in?
Your point about the ownership, I will never argue with you on. All right, so we're going to talk about that. But it's a moot point. They brought him in to keep us up. I get that. They brought him in. They kept him on to keep us up. We are now 3 points off relegation. He's not doing what they wanted him to do, right? But again, the issue about players is that we have players he can use. He doesn't use them. We have an academy. Use the academy players. The excuses about injuries, I'm not having it anymore, because he doesn't make subs. Today, again, I get bringing on Schlupp, but bring him on for Chris Richards in the midfield if you want to bring him on, all right? And then bring France on and put him for Ayew out wide. Why or take off Eze? Why are you bringing on Schlupp to play wide left? Yeah, he did have a couple of good runs. And again, I heard you on the watch on. He's a good impact sub, but to bring on one player when Chelsea arguably the worst Chelsea side in about 7-8 years, were there for the taking. We're at 1-1. They had made 4 subs before they brought on Schlupp. They brought on 4 players. Madueke came on. Silva came on. Brozier came on. They made subs. He doesn't make active subs. The guys are flagging. Mateta's played 90 minutes for the last, I guess, 5 matches, because again, when Edouard got injured. He doesn't make subs. He doesn't even think about, let me try something different. Bring, put a kid on the bench that might have some legs, might give us a little bit of a spark. He brings on France at 90 minutes when we're down 2-1. It's like saying to the kid, all right, I want you to fail. Get on the pitch. So again, I understand you're saying about the board has not backed him, but back him why? Historically, he doesn't play new players. When we bought Mateta that first season,
so
can't we put the blame on the board then?
Is it not bigger than Hodgson then? Because if the board knew that he would not use the players, and that's why they brought him in, because they don't have to buy players because Hodgson won't use it.
AJ,
Can't we put the blame on the board then for them?
No, I
understand the board
issue.
I think the problem is bigger than Hodgson. We're talking about Hodgson, but I think the problem is bigger than Hodgson. Hodgson should go. But if Hodgson is going, there needs to be change with the ownership model because it's not working. It's not working.
Yeah, but D, this is the point.
Not only this summer, let me just quickly finish my point, then you can jump in, AJ. Not only this summer, remember, when Conor Gallagher went back to Chelsea, that summer under Vieira, we didn't bring in another midfielder. And that costs us massively. It's happened twice. It's happened a few times now that the board haven't backed the manager when they needed to back the manager. It's bigger than Hodgson. That's what I'm saying. Another manager's going to come in. Cooper will come in. Lopetegui, whoever comes in, will come in. But until you solve the problems at the top, and we've seen this at a few clubs, the bigger picture in the long run, the same things will happen over and over again. And right now, we have a problem at ownership model that if Hodgson goes, that them problems are still going to be there. It's not going to change because we don't have
I get your point. I understand it. But if you have an academy and you have brought in players like Ahmada and França, play them. Play them. Have them fail and then say to the board, you know what? I need more players. When you bring in players like Ahmada and França and you have an academy with Adamarola, etc., Ozo, and we also Ozo played well last. Where was he today? Didn't come on the pitch. I know what you're saying, D, but he will not play younger and new players unless he has to. That has to change. Maybe Cooper does different. Maybe Lopetegui does different. I'm not saying they will, but I'm saying we need to change because Hodgson, we know what we're going to get. We're going to get a manager who is going to play a certain way, play certain players, and do certain things. Maybe Lopetegui or Cooper are different. I'm not saying it will be. All I'm saying is at this point, 100%, the board, the ownership is at fault, but this manager has decided he's not going to change. And as AJ said, the comments he made about the young kids, how's that helping us? Do you know what I mean? So I know what you're saying, D, but I'm sorry. He has to go. Let's try something different. As they say, you can't do the same thing over and over again, expecting the same results. That's what we're doing with Hodgson. The same thing over and over again. It's not going to change. Let's try something different. Anything different.
Yeah, look, let us know as well what you think in the comment section. And I know there's a few people behind the scenes, but if you're enjoying the show, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, people. Let's grow the channel. Let's have more Palace fans on here, of course, having their say. If you're Hodgson in, Hodgson out. For me, I honestly, you might think I'm crazy. I might think you're crazy, but it's a game of opinions. I'm willing to hear both sides of the story. So if you want to call in tonight as well to have your say on the matter, feel free to do so. This should be a space for all Palace fans to have their say on the game as well as the club, because of course I think it's big, and then the game now it's more about the club as well. But of course we'll try to talk about the game in a bit more detail as well. Let's bring on the first guest of the evening. Let's bring on Bollocks, who's been waiting for a while behind the scene. Bollocks, 2-1 defeat to Chelsea away from home. Last win, as I said, 4th of November, away from home. Last home win back in September. Are you also Hodgson out?
I think his last chance to lose is probably Brentford, simply because Selhurst Park will go toxic if he doesn't get anything there. I don't know that a draw's enough to have 4 home wins in a year. I think that includes cups as well. I mean, that's worse than Vieira. The Brentford team are weak. We're lucky that we didn't have to play against Tony twice this season, so I don't think there's any excuses there. They've got injuries, just as Chelsea had injuries, just as Brighton had injuries. He's got to get the win, I think. I'm not too angry at him. I totally agree with the points that we don't make the changes. We don't rest Mateta, we don't rotate. But I just can't believe how he keeps trying the same thing over and over again. We went for it today. I'll give him that much. We weren't just completely going to sit in and respect Chelsea too much. But Chelsea were naff. I can't believe that. Those 13 times that we've lost him on a trot. I don't really remember them playing very well against us for sustained periods either. I don't know what it is about Chelsea, but anyway. So very, very close to it, but I don't know that Cooper excites me or Potter excites me. So what it would make. Also, sorry about the lack of light. I'm in the back of a taxi.
That's fine.
Sorry, bro. Just on that point, right? And I've seen this one on social media, especially this evening. I'm hearing a lot of people say he's got until Brentford, and then we might have to make a change. Why are we waiting so long? And you obviously might have that caveat to that. It's only because I've heard you specifically say it like in live time. But why can't we not get rid of him now rather than wait for Brentford? Because by the time Brentford comes around, we could easily be sitting in that relegation zone.
Because firstly, you know how the inaction of Parish and co, and maybe we'll get the Americans over to formalise stuff. I don't know. That's me sort of going by the previous one. Yeah, and I think it's like the typical Palace way. Like he goes, "Oh, we've got a little black book. I'm ready to replace Vieira." Takes weeks and then goes after Hodgson again. I don't know how so it's for him to react. And like you said before, the Freeman should have 2 or 3 names out there, maybe that we've heard of, maybe that we haven't heard of from around global football. Going, we pull the trigger and he walks in the next day. But that's not how Palace operates ever. So
yeah. Look, I know you're on the back of a cab, so I'm gonna let you go.
But yeah, cheers.
But yeah, I was just gonna ask you. Of course, the Brentford game is massive, but based on what you saw today, for the 90 minutes, do you think that we could beat Brentford? Because they're another struggling side. I think they lost 4-1 today against Wolves.
I think they're quite up and out. They're like the old Wimbledon sometimes when we play them, and it's the kind of game you probably want Ward at the back post. I know how he's viewed on this game, but you want Ward at the back post rather than Klein. Klein's always prone to letting it bounce. Klein doesn't always jump up for that last back post header. And we're going to have to put out some brutes. We have to rely on Richards in the air, Mateta in the air. I don't know. It's going to be an ugly game of football. It was not good quality today, and the Brentford game is going to be 2 or 3 times as bad as that, I reckon. But we've got to get a win. How that happens, we've got to get that win.
100%. I agree with you as well. But look, really good to have you on, and hopefully you get that win, because honestly, I don't know what a win feels like at this point. It's been a while, but Get home safe. Take care.
Yeah, big love. Thank you, lads. Cheers.
Yeah. Okay, there's some quotes coming out from Roy's side of things as well that I'll read out. But if you're enjoying the show, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, people. And also you can call into the show. The link is going to be posted again. I can't pin it, unfortunately. I don't know why it's not letting me to pin it, but I'll post the link again. So you can join us live to have your say. I'll be going through the comment section as well. Of course, there's a lot of comments, a lot of people, so I can't be reading through all the comments, but I'll try to read through as much as possible. So let's go and bring on Patrick next, who's a massive Roy Hodgson fan normally, and he's got that Roy's #1 fan there as well. Patrick, thank you for joining us tonight. Chelsea 2, Palace 1. How would you sum up that game, Patrick? I mean, crap, losing by another last-minute goal, penalty. You're Roy's biggest fan, or was.
It's all your fault. It's all your fault, Patrick. It's all your fault. So I'm going to say, it's all your fault.
Who else was going to take that job, Patrick? Who else was going to take that job? Who else was going to take that job? Look,
that's on the ownership, right?
Yeah, but look, we already know what I stand with those clowns, so I'm leaving that alone. He needs to go. I said it after the what was it? The game before Brighton. I said he needs to go then. I don't know what that Liverpool was. That was crap.
Oh, Man City, wasn't it?
There was one guy that showed up. Yeah, Man City. There was one guy that showed up in that game. That was Elise. Eze's been a shadow of himself for a minute. Richards is playing out of position. They've already run Gahey and Anderson into the ground. Metro was playing catch up all night. To me, Chelsea should have won 4-1 in the first half. Awful. There's nothing else I can say. I can't defend Roy. He definitely should go. That's what Franca come on in the 90th minute, 89th minute.
First minute, yeah, and first after we conceded a goal.
What the hell was that going to do? And really, it should have been worse because Jackson missed what, 3 chances in the second half, wide open nets. I'm not a fan of Henderson. We were starting to get on Johnston. I'm sorry. There ain't much else to say, guys. I'm usually a big mouth for 20 minutes, and I have to apologize, but there's nothing to say about that. I mean, I could be on it all night about the ownership. Not going to do it because you know where I stand on it. Hodgson, I love him, but got to go. But who are you going to bring in? All right, Cooper's play 3 in the back, still defensive. Paddy Power, I've seen that one Arsenal game was enough for me with him. So who would take the job? There's always somebody you can hire, but who would you bring in? Who would want the job?
Would you not say that's on the owners to find the manager? I mean, there's managers all around the world, so it's on them to find someone to. Of course, we mention the names of Cooper, Lopetegui, etc. But there are other managers out there that we don't mention. You know that it should be the responsibility to find them to make sure that they fit into what we want as a football club. Because you can make the argument, Patrick, and that he's not using the youth players, for example, and that doesn't align with what we're trying to do. So it's on the club to try and find that manager, no? And the owners.
Right. Sorry about that. Yeah, but people talk about Lopetegui, especially that name's popular on Twitter. You know the reason he left Sevilla, he was fired, but they weren't spending any more money. They cut the spigot off. It's just now catched up to that club. He left Wolves. Same reason. Wolves weren't going to spend any money. So Lopetegui's not going to come to Crystal Palace unless he's desperate to get back in. And we, like Patrick says, we have players on that bench. Franca and Olga and Hamada. They're all 21 to 19 to 22. I mean, there's pace in the team. I don't know how much we truly need in the transfer market. It's like Patrick said, and I don't really agree with Patrick a lot, but he's right this time. Because
that hurt.
See, here's the thing, right? And this is what I find interesting.
On most things, like about Hodgson at the time. So I'm just messing with you.
So here's the thing, right? Everyone's talking about who do we bring in? Steve Parrish, right? Or Dougie Friedman, or whoever the hell was in the back room at the time, was managed to convince the Eze, Elise to sign, France to sign, and various other players. You can't tell me amongst those alleged professionals, and I mean that in air quotes, I just can't be bothered to lift my hands right now.
I'm keeping my mouth shut.
Exactly. You can't tell me these guys cannot find at least 1 or 2 half-decent managers that will play young, progressive football. For me, it's laziness. Because at the end of the day, the only time this club pulls its fingers out is when things are dire. Because if we lost Elise for the alleged 35 million, or if we lost Eze for 40 million because he didn't sign a new deal, or if we didn't wrap up France and we ended up buying, I don't know, some bum from League One or whatever. In fact, no, that's disrespectful. Just basically no half-decent, exciting players. They knew they would have got their asses masked to the wall on that one. So that's the only reason why they do those things. They do those things. In fact, the football that Roy is playing is very responsive in terms of what happens in the boardroom. They react. They're reactive rather than proactive. A progressive club will go and get the next up-and-coming manager. We have got the know-how, the skills, and I'd even debate, I'm convinced there's a budget there to get that done. But because they're so lazy and they want the easy way out and they're very lethargic about things, that's why we can't get a young progressive manager. There's no way you could have told me they convinced those young men to sign those deals in the past couple of months if there's not some kind of common sense or no common logic in that boardroom. It's just, for me, it's just laziness because they want the easy life. You know, it's like when you work with somebody and they don't want to do their job, but they want to get paid. They just do the bare minimum, or they just do what they have to do. And then when manager shows up or when the big issues come around, all of a sudden people start looking productive and start looking like they can do things. It's the same concept.
He is going to resign, they're high. If they think Mark Gahey is going to resign, if he resigns, he's high. That I don't mean to be rude, but that I don't know how they got Elise and Eze. Well, Eze hasn't really shown anything since he signed. I mean, let's be real. Since that contract, his last few games have been awful. He nearly cost us last week, and that penalty, it's not smart. I don't know. And that whole midfield, I've been saying it all year. It didn't even matter if when Lerma's healthy and Decore, they haven't meshed. No matter who plays in that midfield, the passing, it looks good on paper. It's just not being executed. So, but that's just if the core is rotten inside, like the club, it filters down to the pitch, filters down on the field, filters down to the management, and now it's just rotten. Luton play with a togetherness. It's ugly. They're not getting relegated. It's us and them right now. So I don't know. I mean, change the manager, but who are they going to bring? Well, that's the thing. Who's going to take the job? Sure, anybody they can employ. They can appoint anybody.
But I'm telling you right now, the first one is going to be Paddy McCarthy, and the second is going to be Steve Cooper. I'm telling you right now, I guarantee you, when Hodgson is gone, it's either McCarthy because Cooper won't take the job, or it's going to be Cooper because Freeman and Parrish have already felt him out. They talked to him in the past. They like Steve Cooper. So you guys can talk about how you don't like Cooper all you want. I'm telling you right now, if he's available, which he is, and wants the job, which I don't know, he's going to be the next manager because I know for a fact they like him a lot. So there's that.
I don't think Cooper's a bad pick, but I don't think he had a lot to do with the players that he bought at Nottingham Forest. But
he had nothing to do with them, Pat. He had nothing to do with them. But what I'll say to him, I said in the last show, is that you got to give him credit for two things. People want to talk about his football. He took the team that was in the bottom in the championship to the promotion playoff, got them promoted, and kept them up. Them up. Now, again, the players that came in weren't all his. Some of them were, most of them weren't. So that alone to me means, he's a decent manager.
He would get Mark Gahey to sign. Mark Gahey always speaks well of him.
Always. And he had him at Swansea, and he had him on the under 17 World Cup team. So yeah.
He would play. He would play young players because that'll be all that is left.
Yeah, great point. Exactly.
Guys, I don't want to be redundant on here, and you guys got other people to speak to. I'm just kind of speechless, really. There ain't really much else I can add to the show. As for Brentford will be a tie. That'll be me listening to the game on the radio and through my phone, because that's going to be a draw. It's not been always been a draw. It's going to be a draw. 1 point.
Yeah, well, it is. Yeah, it's always 1-0, isn't it? It's always 1-0 or 0-0, 1-0. Yeah, one of the two. It's always a draw. So, but it can't be in my eyes. If it's a draw, to be fair, he could be gone today. But if it's a draw, he has to go. We have to win that game. There's nothing other than that.
Hopefully he goes on his own. Hopefully he goes on his own. Hopefully he walks away on his own.
I don't think so. I don't think so, man. I just don't see him leaving. I just don't see him leaving on his own.
Yo, listen, state pension ain't cutting it no more, rude boy. He's gonna get that payoff. Like, he'll get the payoff. Like, he's not.
Yeah, I don't think he's leaving by himself. Look, Patrick, pleasure talking to you. As Roy's #1 fan, if you're saying he has to go, then there's something seriously going wrong. But hopefully we'll catch up with you after the Brentford game.
Definitely will. Take care, guys.
All right, then. Take care, Patrick. Okay, there's still a lot of people behind the scenes, so we're going to go through each guest one by one. Fraser, welcome to the show. Hodgson out. I think it's the first time calling in, right?
It is, yeah. I've been subscribed for a while now, but yeah, first time to come on and talk.
Yeah. So talk to me about that game and Hodgson. Clearly, you're not a fan based on.
I was a fan of Hodgson. You know, he came in last year when we needed someone to stabilise the ship. He came in, he got the players playing. They looked like they were enjoying it under him. I was not a fan that we signed him for this season. He was always going to retire at the end of this year, and I just don't think a year was enough anyway. We needed someone to come in and be able to work with the players that we've got. I can understand their reasoning for it, but we've left it too long now. You know what I mean? The season, half of it through, we need someone to come in and do the second half right. I just don't think Hodgson's the man.
In terms of the potential managers coming in, do you care who it is? Have you got any names in mind that you would like to see maybe us go for? Cooper's been mentioned, Lopetegui as well. Or do you want us to go with a different approach rather than the usual names that get thrown around?
I like Lopetegui. I thought he done well at Wolves, and I think he's got an exciting brand of football, which what he done at Sevilla. Cooper again, yeah. I mean, I don't know whether he's ready or yet, but I don't mind Cooper. I wouldn't mind Cooper. But my personal preference would be Lopetegui, but I don't know whether we'd get him or not.
So in terms of today's performance, how would you sum it up then? In the 9 minutes, of course, another late goal conceded, and it's become a trend now. It's very frustrating because at this point, it's just yeah, you can be unlucky at times, but I don't think it's unlucky. I just think it's sloppiness from us. The fact that we conceded all these late goals. But you know, it wasn't. I don't think it was a terrible performance. But
No,
at moments, Chelsea kept possession. They got into the game a bit more. Then afterwards, we kind of attacked them. For you, how would you sum up the 90 minutes that you watched from the first half to the final?
I thought it was the first half. I thought for 15 minutes, I thought we were pretty much on top. You know, we were closing down. We were higher up the pitch, which I enjoyed. I liked the fact that we were looking to actually go for the result instead of just sitting back. Then Chelsea got into the game a bit, and we sort of withdrew a bit. I mean, the goal was quality. You know, I thought, you know, Elise's touch and finish was fantastic, and I thought half time maybe he would, you know, bring someone else on. You know, the game's there for the taking. Chelsea were not that great. They were not great. We allowed them to play a little bit in that first half, and you know, they were quick on the transition. Second half, I thought, again, we started brightly, but then I'm waiting for Hodgson to make a change. I'm waiting for something. Look, Richards is not a midfielder. Why have we got Hughes sitting on the bench who can actually get stuck in and play forward as well? Richards he's no good going forward, and he's not a great passer. You know, in the back, he's okay, he's solid, and I don't mind him back there. But, you know, and then France, so that really annoys me because, you know, 9 minutes, what's he going to do? What is he going to do? You know what I mean? He ain't going to be able to get into the game.
Well. Yeah.
But it wasn't a bad performance. I still think, you know, like the penalty, Eze wasn't right. He doesn't look right for me. You know, I don't know whether he's not fully back yet or not, but there's something not right there. I think he could have come off earlier. For France, maybe, and then Schlupp coming on. But I don't know. I thought it was a draw in the end, but the penalty was bad. So that's it. It was a penalty. Can't really deny it.
More than the results, of course, it's a results game. But you sound like, and not only you, a lot of people, me included, like you're frustrated with the subs and the game management. Is that a major factor in terms of why you want Hodgson gone? Is that because, apart from the results as well? Because France has an opportunity. Well, we got him for a significant fee for Crystal Palace, anyways. For a youngster that's, you know, unproven, and he doesn't really get many opportunities. Does that also put into factor why you want him gone, or is it just the results?
He's just not giving him enough game time. You know what I mean? When he first came, look, he was young. Well, I know he's still young, but he had that game for the under-21s, which was pretty poor. And, you know, and I could see maybe, you know, he needed more time to settle. But, you know, you can't keep giving him like 5 minutes, 10 minutes here and like then leaving it for 3 games and then not playing him again and then giving him another 10 minutes. I just don't like the way he manages the game at all. I don't. You know what I mean? You can see all of the Palace fans that I sit with when we're watching the games or we're sitting there watching and we say to him, the change is there. Everyone can see it. Make the change. And he just don't. He just doesn't. He just sits there and, like I said, there's just not. I like him as a person. Like I said, he's done good things for us, and I'll always have respect for him. But he's got to go. He's got to go.
Yeah, look, I agree with you. I agree with you as well. And that's the annoying thing about it because I do like him as a person, but I had a feeling that if he carried on this season, if things didn't work out, then we'll be back at this point. And of course, it's a results business. We want to see the best for the club, and if we don't think he's good enough for us, then that's the case. But I just wish that he ended in the last 10 games. We, you know, after the 10 games, we said thank you for everything. Goodbye, Roy. We start a new chapter. It's a summer preseason. We can start off. But we decided to give him a new contract, and here we are again. We're probably going to end up sacking him, and I don't think he deserves to be in this position. I wish we just ended it last season, but it is what it is. It is what it is, and it's a results business, and we're not getting the results, and things are not working out. And unfortunately, his last job in management might be a sacking, which is harsh because he's been in the game a long time. But it's on us. It's on us trying to sell him as well.
It is harsh, yeah. You know, like I said, I don't want to see him sacked. That's for sure. But like the others said, he won't walk away either. So it's going to come down to that, isn't it? But I think Cooper would have the savviness to keep us up. And next year, maybe summer, bring in some players that he actually wants to bring in, and then we might have something different to say. But yeah. So.
Yeah, exactly. Look, Fraser, really appreciate you coming on.
No worries, guys.
Take care.
For having us. You take care as well. Have a good New Year, yeah?
Yeah, happy New Year to you too.
Happy New Year.
That's Fraser having his say on the game. AJ, I know you have to. Are you still good for time, or you have to go now? Okay, well, you're on mute anyways, but I saw the 5 minutes. All right. Let's bring on. There's a lot of people that's been waiting for a while. Let's bring on Henry next. Henry, you got the old Palace kit on. I guess you're missing old times, are you?
Preparing for the championship.
Going back to the championship days. 2-1 Chelsea, another defeat. Talk to me.
I think we only have ourselves to blame for this whole situation, to be honest. I think
I'm not to blame, Henry. You can blame. Don't blame me. I'm not to blame.
not you, man. Not you.
You said ourselves. I'm talking about
I'm talking about the club, man. I'm talking about the club. The club's the way the club runs. Everything. Hodgson, the fact that we hired him back is a sorry state of our club. It really is. I mean, it's just a sad state of affairs all around. We should never have been in a position where we have to turn to a 78-year-old man to oversee a season when he's just come back and saved us from potential relegation. At the end of the day, what I'm trying to say, right? We had the perfect opportunity to say goodbye to him on the perfect ending of last season. We did not take it, and now we are paying the consequence. The reason I and so many other fans did not want Hodgson to stay, as well as the tactical side of it, but also because we didn't want to turn on him. Because before this season, a lot of us actually quite liked him. But guess what? Not only is he pissing me off because of his tactics, he's actually gone down in my estimations as a person a little bit, just because of the things he's been saying, the stupid things that he keeps coming out and saying, calling us spoiled. What's that about? I mean, no Crystal Palace fan in the history of Crystal Palace fan can ever be called spoiled. I'm sorry. But as far as the game,
I have a question before you get into the game. Sorry. Now, people talk about, him coming back. He could have said no. And that's why I have no sympathy for the man. He could have just said to Parrish, no. I don't care how much he loves Crystal Palace. He could have said to him, you know what? You asked me to come back for the 10 games. I did the job. I kept you up. Find someone else. And he came back. And that's the reason why I'm so upset. Not that he did last year. Because last year, again, I admitted that, you know what? He kept us up great. But he did not have to come back. Yes, Parrish asked him. He could have said no. Do you know what I mean? And he didn't. And that's what gets me so upset.
Yes, but I think his decision making is based on how he feels about the club. Of course, let's say you're Roy Hodgson and you came back, for example, and you have love for Palace. You'd still want to stay on, right? I think he was thinking for the love of the club, he wants to stay on. They need me for another season. I'll stay on. I don't think it's on Hodgson. Henry's gone. I don't know where Henry went. I disconnected. But
it wasn't me.
Yeah, he just disappeared. But yeah, I don't think it's on Hodgson. It's the fact that, by the way, this whole discussion, we don't have it if we don't offer him a contract. We don't have it. It's not on Hodgson. It's on the people. It's on both. That's actually hiring a manager. So yeah, look, I'm not going to talk about Hodgson whether he should have took it or not. I think he thinks about the club, and I said this when he joined us last season. I think he joined us, and he wouldn't join another club in the last 10 games if he didn't have love for the club. I think he does have genuine love for the club. But it's on the owners. The owners gave him a new contract, and it's on them. It's not on Hodgson for signing it. If you give him the opportunity, why would you say no? But look, there we are with that. I don't know where Henry's gone. But if you're enjoying the stream, people, there's over 200 of you here. We should easily smash 150 likes. If you're new here as well, subscribe. Let's keep the channel growing, people. As always, different opinions, feel free to jump on. Hodgson in, Hodgson out. I'll be actually curious to speak to a Hodgson fan today. If there is still any Hodgson fans, feel free to call in, because I actually want to hear from you, to hear your perspective as well. Because the Hodgson fan that we did have, AJ disappeared as well. The Hodgson fan that we did have, everyone's calling that dominoes.
Am I gonna be next? You're gonna get me next now.
It might be me. What
did I do?
But the Hodgson fans that we did have, they're not fans anymore. So I wonder if there is any other fans out there. Let's bring on Tim. Sorry about the wait. There's a lot of people waiting today, unfortunately.
Don't apologize, dude.
Yeah, there's a long queue to the game and due to what's going on. But 2-1 this time around, Tim. It just feels like every time I say scoreline is a defeat or a draw, but majority of it is defeat. Where are you at?
It's hard, man. It's depressing. I am a Roy fan at the broadest sense. I respect him. I want him to go out gracefully. And this is hard because I agree with everybody else who's saying, like, what do we do here? Like, the results aren't adding up. The performances are frustrating. There's legitimate questions, and all of them are valid. So what do we do? Like, I genuinely love Roy, but I don't know what to do here. I am very much struggling. It was hard to watch. And there's a part of me, before I'll get to the game in a second here. There's a part of me that wonders, okay, if it's Steve Cooper, am I getting different football? Am I getting better football? And I'm not convinced. And the reason I'm not convinced are two things. Except unless you want to talk about Brennan Johnson or maybe Morgan Gibbs-White, Steve Cooper didn't play kids at Nottingham Forest. He just didn't. Like, he has experience with kids, but he didn't play kids. So I don't know that he's going to come in. Yeah.
But Tim, he did at Swansea, and he did obviously as a U17 coach. So I know what you're saying at Forest. I think Forest more because they bought all those players. You had to play them, but he has a history of playing younger players. He definitely did at Swansea. Maybe he got Gay from Chelsea as a he was like 18 and played him. Do you know what I mean?
And
so
also
he played Swansea. So.
But is that
they signed a lot of
Patrick?
players? I don't think
that
they signed a lot of players, so I don't think we really had the opportunity. They kind of stacked that up with
That's what I'm thinking too. But again,
and I think that's fair. But do you also? So I that is a fair point. So is it then that they signed all these players, got to play them? Okay, I think that's a fair point. And he did play youth at Swansea. He played the ones. Didn't he play the ones that he had to play? So I'm struggling a bit here. I don't know that Cooper is
even
the
if it's not
answer
Cooper, Tim. Would you say, if you put your emotions aside with Roy, don't you think Roy needs to go? Is it not on the ownership to find another manager? It doesn't have to be Cooper.
It
shouldn't be Roy versus Cooper. I've said this for a long time as well, that it's on the owners to find the right manager. When Roy first left the club, Vieira wasn't on the list. No one really spoke about Vieira as a man. No one did. He was the last option. He came out. It worked for one season.
Yes, he
went. So is it not on the owners to find us alternative? So do you think Hodgson should be going? You know, if you move your emotions aside, do you think Hodgson should be going? And the owner should be looking at another manager?
That is what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. Is that I tend to agree with everybody that it's time. I'm sad, but I agree that it's time. And it is on the owners to find the right manager. I don't know who that is. I'm worried because I have no idea who that is. I'm not convinced by Steve Cooper. I think there's no chance it's Julian Lopetegui. I don't think that's happening. So I don't know who it is. Is it Kieran McKenna at Ipswich? Is he actually going to leave in the winter? I'm not convinced by that either. So I just don't know who it is. So I'm not hardcore Roy in. I don't know who we get though. And it's frustrating for me because what feels different about this is that I don't think the players have stopped playing for Roy. I just think we're not executing, and that ultimately does come down to him. So it's weird, and I can't explain it. I'm very frustrated by it, and I don't know what's going to happen in the winter window if you're going to do it. So let's say we do it. I guess you could do it now. You could wait until after Brentford. I have no idea. It's clearly you want to do it as early. If you're going to do it, you want to do it as early as you can into the winter window so you get enough time for whoever the new manager is, to get some ideas bedded into the squad before we're back on January 20th. I don't know what that does to the FA Cup tie, but I mean, if this is where we're at, then this is where we're at. You want to do it as soon as you can. As far as the game today, I feel like this did not feel like, except for the subs. The subs were very frustrating. That was on Roy. But us going out and pressing Chelsea, I thought was right and was interesting. And then the goal comes and we start to lose it, get wobbly on the pitch. That's frustrating to see. That's confidence in the players. And then we get that great goal. Brilliant. And then we're back. I think we went after Chelsea the way we were supposed to go after Chelsea. Ebbs was terrible. That's on Roy too. I would have rather he either get him off earlier or not play him at all because he's just not ready at the moment. There are things I think were on Roy today. Not everything though. And it's deeply frustrating for me. I'm the one thing I can't get behind is the toxicity toward him. I get the anger toward him though. I do get it. And I will say this. That's why, man, I love you, Patrick. I love the passion that you bring to it. And so I think it's all valid. I think exactly what you're saying. You should say exactly what you're saying. And I love that. I think as Palace fans, we should be passionate. We should say it with our chest. We should have a lot of heart because it shows that we care. Right? So I'm just because I'm not as where you are with Hodgson, I love where you are with them because you're a passionate fan and you've seen this for way too long. And this is a go ahead, man. Sorry.
No, so here's where I am, right? So listen, I have no problem people who still want to support Hodgson, etc. But I've been a fan for such a long time. I've seen
You've seen
everything.
this before.
I've seen everything. Okay, so I get it. But the thing is that we had an opportunity, and D makes a great point when he brings up it's on the ownership first, right? But he has now won one game in 12.
Right. Right.
You can't accept that on any level because we are
No,
now
and you
3
can't
points ahead
explain
of
him being around, right?
exactly, because of any other manager, he's gone
Right.
already. But I
Right.
get the fact when he came in that first time when the ball was so bad, he did a ridiculously great job of keeping us up. We should have gone down that
Yep.
season. Honestly, we should have gone down
Yep.
that year. But
Yep.
but after that, for me, the football just got so boring to me. I'm looking
Yep.
for us to progress. It was just the same old defensive setup, not
Yep.
wanting to play certain players. And I can go back to, Max Meyer. Well, he just said more the light, but I wanted to see him play a bit more. The Spanish player we got. What's his name again? Do you throw him out there? The Spanish player we had. He never played. The guy from Cardiff we got. I forget his name all of a sudden.
Campagna,
Not Campagna, right.
It's out
Right,
to sea.
Right, didn't play him. Then Mateta, when Mateta wasn't some great striker, but then Mateta was doing okay. Didn't want to play Mateta. We moved forward to this season. We signed França. Doesn't want to
Yep.
play him. In the past,
Yep.
players that have played, youth players that have played. Wan-Bissaka, injury. Mitchell, injury. Ozo, injury. So it's like I get people who support him, but it's again. I watched D and Heimberg today during the watch long, and I went right back to the lockdown when D and I we did do these watch longs. They were the most difficult things for me to get through. It was so frustrating that the 7-0 game to Liverpool just stands out my brain as like being like it was so bad to watch, So, but I get who he is and what he's done. But for me, Camarasa, thank you. Camarasa, thank you in the chat, LMF. I appreciate it, Camarasa. It's just that at this point now, he could have walked after last season. I get the fact that Parrish wanted him to come back. He wanted to help Palace. But now that he's back, for me personally, he has destroyed all the goodwill that he had. Because at this point, he has to win Brentford, and he has to stick around now and keep us up. If he doesn't, whatever he does after this, when he's gone, people can look back and say, this season under Hodgson has been an absolute disaster. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas if he left after the 10 games, he did a great job. Vera was gone. He kept us up, blah, blah, blah. But now people all they got to think about is this season, we are as close as we are to relegation as we've been since the last time he was here. Do you know what I mean? We weren't that issue with Vieira. It was when Hodgson was here the first time. It's just that I don't want to be so negative, but it's like we had an opportunity to push on. And yes, it's on Parish and the ownership, but having Hodgson back to me was such a bad idea. I didn't like it when it happened in August,
Yeah.
and I dislike it again now. And now we're at the point where are we as a club now? Where are we going? Like, where are we going, man?
I feel like we're just trying to stay up. That's the
Right,
problem.
exactly.
I think this way it goes down to the owner. We'll quickly mention owner because I know you're passionate about the owners with that discussion. But for me, I think Steve Parish is, of course, he's a Palace fan. I know some people say he's not, but he is a Palace fan. But for me, he's also an investor as well. And of course, the cost of relegation will be much higher for him and his personal finances in terms of, Palace was go down to the championship. We're not valued nowhere near where we're valued right now. I think you can admit that as well. Like it drops. Being in the Premier League is where it's at. But there's another thing to look at. Yes, he's a Palace fan, but I'm trying to think as myself. If I'm a Palace fan, as much as I love the club, I want to make sure my finances are intact. For me, the bigger thing for him should be that he makes sure Palace is a Premier League club. And I think this is the problem. His actions so far have suggested that he is okay with just staying in the Premier League. And yes, he does want to be self-sustainable and all of this, but we're not going to have the new stand until 2026, 2027. Like, how many years are we going to have these excuses? We're going to be a Premier League club for about 15 years, and we're going to talk about self-sustainable, where other clubs are overtaking us. Bournemouth, they changed their manager. They took a risk. But on top of that risk, to nullify it as much as possible, they went and backed their manager. Now, I don't have any faith, and this is why I go back down to the owners. Hodgson can leave today. He can leave tomorrow. He can leave after the Brentford game. But I still don't think we're going to show the ambition of the pitch with the transfers to change this matter. I feel like we're going to go around in circles and circles and circles. So for me, there needs to be a change in ownership. Steve Parish, yes, he's a Palace fan. Yes, he has the best interest in the club, but he doesn't have the finances, and he wants to protect his own finances. And his actions so far have suggested that rather than pushing on, he's happy with staying up. But one season, that mentality is going to cost you because you're going to get relegated from it. It's simple as that. You're going to get relegated by just trying to stay up, because teams are trying to push on. And I think that's where the problem lies. He doesn't have the finances. He wants to keep the Palace as a Premier League club, and he'll probably sell his bit of shares once a new stand is built. But I'm worried that we'll get relegated before then. That's how I see it. So there's a conflict between being an investor and being a fan of the club. I do think he has the best interest, but also he's looking after his own pockets. I truly do believe that. And there's no blame against that, because I'll do the same thing. But the problem is, his approach is very negative, what I want to see as a fan. And I know someone with a bit more money, with more ambition, with how the Premier League is going right now, would like to take this role. There's no way no one is interested in Crystal Palace Football Club. There will be, because there's room for improvement. And I don't think, and I just right now I'm looking at the matter, and I just with Steve Parish, there's a conflict there. Fan, investor, what do you actually want? Of course, you want to see the club progress, but you haven't got the financial backing. You're not getting along with the owners, with John Textor, who has a large portion of shares. So something needs to change. It needs to change at the top. So if Hodgson goes, Parish needs to go as well.
So who would you want? I mean, I think you've heard my arguments.
Well, best case scenario is this will be harder. Best case scenario is I just want to change. Or all three of them. Because Harris and Blitzer, they clearly, I don't think they're fully in Palace. Texter, he is, but I'm concerned about
describe who you...
I don't want it. For me, all three of them, I'll just like a complete change in ownership. I'd rather have one owner.
Describe who you want then.
Describe who you want. But I don't know exactly who I'd want. It depends if people.
You don't have to name a name. I want you to describe what it is you want. And the reason I'm asking this, D, is because I think it's very easy. So I'll try not to make this a heated rant, because you know how passionate I feel about this. I think Parish out is the craziest thing any of us could say. That is for me. And this is the reason why. There are so many people who come into this game and believe that they buy a football club to be their plaything. And I do not, under any circumstances, want that. Steve Parish has probably been one of the best things in the history of Crystal Palace Football Club. I'll give
but
you
he's got a ceiling though.
Hang on. I'll give you two reasons why he's so important right now. We are in the middle of negotiating for salary caps inside of the Premier League. And here's how it's going to work. Sorry to get all mathy on you, but this is how it's supposed to work right now. So what's going to happen is, if this goes through, and it probably will, because this is what UEFA wants to do, where you have a percentage of your revenue that you get to spend on players. So your percentage of revenue, and everybody gets the same. So if you're Man City and you have a huge portion of revenue and you get to spend 70% of your revenue on players, you have a natural advantage. Because if you're Crystal Palace and we only get to spend 70% of our turnover on players, well, we're screwed. Forget about who the manager is. Forget about anything else. If that goes through, we're done. We're going to the championship and we won't survive it. Who's the one that's leading the fight against this kind of crap that's coming from the Premier League? Parrish is. He doesn't get any credit for it, but he's a fan.
He's leading the fight because he knows, but then again, it goes back to him. Yes, he helps the club, but it goes back to him because he can't compete with these people. He's looking after his investment. You say Palace go down to the championship, but see, Parrish's investment goes down the hill. It goes back down to him. That's what I'm saying. We always think about Palace. We think about Parrish.
Do you really believe that?
We don't think about Parrish as an investor. He's an investor. He damages his pockets as well as he damages the club. So it's
that
about
guy
him as
has
well.
made plenty of money. He does not need to secure his future by ensuring the value of Crystal Palace Football Club.
But he's not that rich. He's not on the levels of Textor or Harrison Blitzer. That's well known.
He's at the same level as Textor. He's nowhere near Harrison Blitzer. Now, if you want to talk about Harrison Blitzer, that's a different conversation. And if you want to talk about the structure of the ownership, that's a different conversation. But I think if you're talking about the problem is Parrish out, I think you have lost the plot completely.
So
that's my opinion.
We can say Hodgson out based on results, but the person that's running the club day to day, when we're listing all the wrong decisions he's made, he can't get the blame for it.
You can absolutely blame him for this, and you can also blame him you could blame the board.
What about his life promises as well?
Yeah, and he has said we are moving. We're trying to move up, and that has not come to pass.
He just sells plans. That's what I'm tired of him. He always sells. He's a dream seller. He knows how to speak. He's very good at speaking. He knows how to make the fans on side. And I'm tired of comments that he makes without any actual backing towards it. So if Hodgson can get the sack based on results, why not the guy? Because I don't have confidence that even if Hodgson goes, that we're going to be able to progress as a club. Why? Because of him, of running the football club. I don't think he's going to make the decisions. I think he's very, very relaxed in terms of how he wants to approach the club. I understand his view of things and in terms of trying to take it slow, trying to be self-sustainable. But I'm worried as a football fan, as someone who watches football, as someone who knows, how different ownership work in the Premier League, that we're going to be left behind, and not left behind in the Premier League, but we're going to be left behind in the Championship because of how he views the game. So he runs the club day to day. Roy Hodgson runs the team as a manager week in, week out. So why shouldn't he be under pressure then? Why shouldn't he be under pressure if
you think Steve Parrish is not under pressure right now?
Relegation.
Do you honestly believe that Steve Parrish is not under? There was a whole fan group that was going to go protest him at Newcastle.
I think the banners were out
today. Do you honestly believe he's not under pressure?
No, but he's not under pressure as much. He's not. Up until recently, we've been in Premier League for 10 years, and we've been used to just staying up. But now it's a case of not just staying up. It's a case of what are we actually trying to do as a football club? All right, cool. And for the first 5 to 6 years, staying up, trying to sort ourselves out, that's fine. But now, when you see other clubs get promoted, when you see other clubs go for it, you look at them other clubs and you think, why can't we do the same? And I think the problem goes down to the person running the club day to day. He has his own approach, but our own approach, his approach, I don't think it's going to work in the Premier League. I think it's going to just hold us back. And eventually we'll get relegated by his way of thinking. He doesn't want to spend money like that. He wants to wait for a new stand. He wants to do. We're in dreamland. 2030, we'll be here still talking about new stand. Then afterwards, we'll be talking about new stand getting repaid. It's a new stand. It's not a new stadium. New stand getting built. It's going to help Palace financially, yes, but we're not going to turn into Man City or Newcastle, or whatever, one of them teams. It's a new stand. It's going to help us, of course, financially, but we're not building a 60 to 80,000 capacity stadium. It's not going to be
not just that, though,
revolutionary.
D.
It's going to have a positive
It's not
impact,
just that. It's
but
not. It's
that's
not
it.
just that. It is. If we don't do it, the point I'm making is, if we don't do the stand, then the FFP rules that we will be subject to will make it far worse than the position we're in right now. We have
But can't no
to
one
do
else do
it.
the stand? Why does
What's
it just
that?
have it? Well, someone else can do. It's not like it's only Steve Parish that can do the stand. Yes, he's got the idea, and the idea the work hasn't started yet, but
Sure.
hopefully sooner rather than later.
Sure, but that's where I want to focus on. Let me get out of the way, because I feel like you guys know how I feel about this, and we can talk about the finances more anytime here, because I feel like I frustrate folks here, and I apologize, because we're all fans here.
It's a healthy discussion. It's a healthy discussion. You have your points of view. That's what I prefer. You know, it's interesting to hear other side of the story.
Yeah, and I appreciate it too. I think where I come from, and I guess I have let me admit my bias here, D. I have a bit of a trauma response here, and I need to describe, like, just what I do in my day job. I run into a lot of bad apples. It's much more likely in my opinion, that if Steve Parish were to go and that golden share were to go away, and we sold out to, let's say it's a billionaire, God help us, even an American billionaire. And like again, I'm an American, so I know it sounds crazy for me to say that, but if we do that, the odds of us running into somebody more like the Glazers than like Steve Parish is higher. And I love this football club, and I don't want that to happen. And I think so for me, it's a bit of I'll just admit my bias here. It's a bit of kind of like, Patrick, what you said, like, you know, been a Crystal Palace fan longer than any of us. I've been doing this for 30 years, D. I have seen these people. I know who they are. I know who it is that's buying football clubs right now. And I want nothing to do with these charlatans. And for the record, it's not that I don't like John Textor. I do, but he is unproven, and I don't want him in control.
But you're looking at the other side of things. Okay, so this is where it gets a bit, this is where the topic gets a bit interesting, and Tim, we'll talk about it in a bit more detail later on, because there are people waiting.
Yeah, we got to let people talk.
But look at the impact. For example, moving the history aside from it, Man City owners, they've had a massive impact to the local community, to the team. They've invested in the academy. They've done that. So the two, flip of the coins here. You can have the American, or some, American owners that you're saying that wouldn't want the best for the club, but then there are some other owners that have tons of money that are willing to invest in it because they genuinely have enjoyment from it. So I don't think it's a case of there's only one type of owner. There are different types of owners. Right. Of course, it can go worse, it can go better as well.
Yes,
but I'm willing to take that risk now, because I don't know what we're doing. I don't know where we stand as a club. I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Tim,
go for it,
I don't know any more about this. Do you know the people that are interested in buying Man United before this group Ineos came in? You think they're, I don't know, I can't remember where they were from exactly, but would they be a group you think might be good to Paris, or not really?
Sheikh Jassim.
Yes, that was it.
Yeah, from the club, invest in the stadium.
Yes, all kinds of promises. Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
But majority, owners from that side of the world, we know that the promises normally get delivered because they do have the money to back it. There is that.
Maybe.
Now you might say for moral reasons, you might say you wouldn't want them for moral reasons, and I understand that.
No.
Their promise
I will say
gets back more than the owners from the West. So it's like there's both sides of it.
No, I would say maybe. We have seen We have seen bad owners from Qatar. You know, let me point you to Paris Saint-Germain. Let me point you. I'm butchering that name, but PSG.
I would. Yeah, I get what you're saying. They haven't achieved what they wanted to achieve, but they've still invested
you are right.
lot in PSG.
You are right.
If
we sold, we could run it. We could get lucky. It could happen. We could get our own version of Tony Bloom. It could happen. We could also get an American owner who wants nothing more than just to invest in the club. That could happen too. It could happen. It is absolutely possible. You say, where we disagree on this, D, is you are willing to take that risk for all of the reasons I support as a fan with you. I want to see us move forward too. I want money invested in the club. I want us to push on and go for trophies. We agree on that part. I think the danger that I see has me really scared if we do that, because there are a lot of people who are coming into, they look at football as a plaything. They look at football clubs.
Well, that's what it's turned into, though, Tim, and that's what I'm saying. That's why this self-sustainable thing that we talk about week in, week out.
That's why nice, I think it's the right strategy.
We're going to be left behind because football's turned into a playground. It's turned into a money playground, and there needs to be a change, because right now the owners that we have, they're running it, as you said, like a business, and I get it. I get that side of things, but
everybody runs it as a business, though, D. That's the problem.
Some people, they're willing to take more risks. We're willing to like just go less risk averse on everything that we do. Transfers, this, that. Like, we just don't love taking risks. We just don't. That's what frustrates me.
That is true.
I want us to take risks. If we fail, then we fail. But right now, I don't want us to fail like this. I don't want us to go down like this. Go down without trying. At least if you tried, if you brought in a young, exciting manager, some exciting football, and it didn't work, then fair enough. But I don't want us to go down with Roy Hodgson that we've seen 4 years at this football club, and we know what to expect of him already. But the reason why Roy Hodgson's here is because the owners at the top who make the decisions, they don't want to take risks. They want to keep their pockets safe. And Hodgson, on paper, should be able to keep you up. But it goes down to that. It's a case of trying to stay up rather than trying to push forward. And it comes a point when if you're just trying to stay up, it will catch up on you. It will. And we're in this position right now because of the owners and how they think. And that's the case. And I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of trying to stay up every single season. We've only tried once in the last 10 years. And now we've got another excuse for the next 4 to 5 years because of the new stand. I'm just tired. If you don't have the money, unfortunately, it's turning into a money playground. If you don't have the money, if you're not willing to invest, then it's time to see if someone else is. At least let's see the options out there. Maybe there might be no one else. Then we can come on there and we can say, I would rather keep Parrish. But I'd like us to be out there, maybe put out there for sale, and to see who's actually interested in Crystal Palace as a football club. If there is some interesting names, we can discuss it. But right now, we don't know.
Well, here's what I'll promise. Hey, okay, D, you have my word. I will do this. I promise I will do this. If it turns out that Parrish puts the club up for sale and we start taking bids, then I will dedicate myself to read every filing, everything I can find, so we are fully informed, because I will be damned if we sell this club to the wrong people.
100%.
That's my fear, D.
Yeah.
That's my fear.
Yeah.
I do not. I am under no circumstances do I want us being sold to the wrong people, and that's why I believe. And I'll say this and get out of the way. The sustainability model, it is the right model. It's the only one in a world where everybody. It's the only one. D, I promise you, it is the only one that works in a market where it's not. I need to just make this last point. World football is the most unfair, most brutal, raw knuckles, laissez-faire, capitalistic business in the world. It is nothing like American sport. Nothing. It barely even resembles it. And because of that, the only way to win in that kind of market because you are always going to be unfairly disadvantaged, no matter who is at the helm, whether there's a billionaire or not. So the only way to do it is to figure out how to have a sustainable football club where you're recycling and building from the ground up. I think it's the only way to do it.
Yeah,
but I will say you may be right, D. You may be right.
Maybe,
if
maybe
we sell
5-6 years ago, what we're trying to do right now, maybe 5-6 years ago, then yeah, fair enough. But Tim, this is a problem. Teams are trying to improve their facility. Newcastle already in talks on how to expand St James's Park. But you know what? That's not going to do to Newcastle. They're still going to spend in the summer business, in the summer window. They will still spend in January window, because this is what football has turned into. It is not a business. It is a money playground. Teams can improve their facilities. Teams can have all these plans as well as back it up on the pitch. What we're doing right now, because we're stuck for pennies, is we're picking a stadium, and now we're trying to save. We're trying to, let's spend a bit here, let's spend a bit. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. Premier League football changed 5-6 years ago. Fair enough. But what we're trying to do right now, picking between transfers and expanding the stadium, you can't do that. You have to do both. And unfortunately, this ownership group that we have, whether they have the money or not, they're not willing to do that. And for that case, we need a change. That's how I see it. But look, Tim, I get where
you guys are the best, man. You know I love you. You know I love you. You guys are you guys are the best. You guys are the best. Yeah. Thanks for indulging me, man. Hey, look.
Hopefully we talk about the game and positive result against Brentford, but at this point, I very much doubt it. I very much doubt it, but yeah.
Come on, we got to get something. Something's got to happen.
I mean, you can't get any worse right now, but yeah. All right, then, Tim.
I know.
Take care.
Take it easy.
See you later.
Take care,
See you guys.
All right.
Okay, let's bring on Stan, who's been waiting for a while as well. Stan, 2-1.
How we doing, boys?
Spoke about the ownership. Of course, you've been very passionate in our chat with the owners as well. I'll leave the floor to you. Where do you want to start with first? The game, the result, or the owners, the manager?
With the game, a few observations. We are pedestrian going forward. Like, we are absolutely pedestrian. We've got players that could open teams up, but we are pedestrian. You can blame Eze all you want for the penalty, etc., etc. But Hodgson sets this team up, and we did not take our chances to win this game. And we had a couple. Eze ran into the box, and instead of pulling the trigger, I don't know what he did. And it just looks as if after 60 minutes, this team just folds. It really does. Like, they haven't got the energy, they haven't got the fitness. And, I mean, let's not even get started about the subs, because... Well, when did he bring França on? Like 86 minutes?
No, 91.
That's just like, this is getting ridiculous now. Like, a game of football lasts a minimum 100 minutes at this moment in time. Grinding out 1-0 wins. There's only so many. You could maybe grind out one or grind out two, but you can't do that. You've got to have enough players or good enough players to see out this game. Listen. Did we play badly? No. Did we deserve anything? I don't know. Man. I mean, it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah. Let's talk about the manager then, because that's been the main discussion point. Hodgson in, Hodgson out?
Out.
Are you still not undecided?
Out. 100%.
Why?
Because he's living in a dream world. I understand that our squad is paper thin as it is, but he doesn't use this squad. Like, he doesn't use it to its advantages. You could have bought Franca on at 70 minutes. It wasn't going to do any harm. You can see the kid can play football. Do you know what I mean? There's senior enough players to guide him through 20 minutes of football. Do you know what I mean? Like, we spent enough money that he should be able to play 20 Premier League minutes. He doesn't do it. You know, Chris Richards, you know, he's not a DM, so you can't really dig him out. But, you know, they've said...
He's been playing well, though, Richards, I thought, anyways.
He did it, yeah. And listen, he prevented a 100% one-on-one goal-scoring opportunity. But you've got Hughes on there. I don't know how much better he is, but it goes to show you, if he's playing Richards over Hughes, how good he probably... You know, what's going on there. But you've got a Hamada, you could have played him. Listen, I don't know, man. I think... I just don't see Barry sacking him, though. I don't think he's got the bollocks to pull the trigger, lads. I don't think he has.
Real quick, I want to talk about this so-called paper thin squad, which I'm not buying. I'm not buying that because we had players on that bench he could have brought on at any point or could have started. So he loves Hughes and Schlupp. Both didn't start today, and he has Hamada, Ozo, and Francis. That's 5 players, all right, that he could have suffered at any point or could have started. So people want to talk about paper thin squad. I know Edward's out. I know Ward's injured. I know Decore's out. So I'll accept that, right? It is not a paper thin squad. It's a squad that he does not utilize.
That's what I said.
I mean? Right.
But that's what I said.
Yeah.
I said that.
So,
he doesn't use this squad. He doesn't bring on subs. You know, like Schlupp. What? I don't even know what minute he brought him on. You know, and then France at 91 minutes. Like honestly, like in the nicest possible way, just fuck off. Do you know what I mean? Like, just go. It's just so dumb,
very
man.
Nice of you. That's very nice of you, Stan. I like that.
So you want Roy gone? You want Roy gone? Wolves F1. Really appreciate FI. I think or FL. Appreciate your super chat. He asked,
thank you
who would be Roy's replacement? Who would you want to come into the club if Roy was to go there?
I'm gonna get slated in it. I don't think Steve Cooper is the is necessarily going to do anything for us. If I'm being perfectly honest with you guys, he's done nothing at the top of the game for me to suggest that he can do anything. If Palace were a serious club, and they're not, they should be going to another club, paying a buyout clause of the manager and selling him a project.
Who?
Oliver Glasner.
Patrick, you're laughing. Do you know?
I'm actually laughing at when no, I'm not laughing at Glasner because I don't know what Glasner would possibly come to Palace. I love that idea, Stan. I can't.
Sorry, for those that don't know, who does Glasner manage right now?
Eintracht Frankfurt. He won the Europa League with him. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But would he come to Palace? That's another thing.
Right. I mean, listen, I respect the fact you said about Cooper, Stan, but I'm going to defend him again because, again, you say he hasn't done much in the top of the game, but again, he brought a team from the bottom 3 of the Championship to the Premier League and he kept them up. Now, for Palace, that's about as good as it gets. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'd want him as my top choice. What I'm saying is that for Crystal Palace, for Manchester to bring a team up from the bottom 3 the same season to getting them promoted and then keep them up, I don't know what more you want from him. I do understand he's not a top manager, but we are Crystal Palace. For Glasner to come here, mate, I would bite your hand off. It's never happening. It's like saying Graham Potter. It's not gonna happen.
Graham Potter's more likely than Graham Potter.
Not likely. The guy's been linked to Manchester United. Why would he come to Palace?
He's not
coming to Palace, Potter. He was never coming to Palace ever.
But do you know what I mean? Like after 11 Premier League seasons, we should be serious enough that we should be looking at Oliver Glasner's of this world.
But we're not serious. But you're right.
No, we're not.
But we're not serious. Right. We're not serious.
So why are we not serious? Does it go back down to the owners? Because you did say 100%. About Steve Parish not willing
100%.
to.
Parish needs someone, Texter or Harrison Blitzer or someone has got to buy him out and he's got to lose that golden share or whatever he has. He's got to go. Enough. He has taken this club as far as he can. He's going on podcasts, gaslighting fans. You're talking lie after lie after lie. Listen, this stand, like, I'm not being funny, but Daniel Levy, I know it's a very different club, different wealth, etc., but in the time that Parish has been talking about these stands, Daniel Levy's demolished the stadium and built the best stadium in the world. Do you know what I mean? What's Parish like? He's lying to everyone. He's lying. Lies.
What are lies? Seriously, I don't think he's lying. I think he just has promises. I think he just likes his soul plans. That's what it is. Like the thing that people are talking about right now is the fact that at the end of the season, what game was it? I can't remember the game. Lap of Honor. He comes out. He goes. Was it Forest? Yeah. He goes on the mic and he says, "We're going to take this club to the next level." Why did he say that? Because he was under pressure. And that's the thing. And people buy into it. Oh, we're going to take this club to the next level. Where's the next level? Back down to the Championship. Listen, is that where we're going? Like, is that the next level? Is this a big surprise, a big plot twist? We thought instead of European football, we're going to go back down to the Championship. Like, is that it? Like, do you get it? Like, that's the problem with Parish. Honestly, I'd rather keep his mouth shut. And it annoys me in a way. I know what Tim said about him wanting to make changes in football. But if he wants to do that, with all due respect, right now, when we're struggling as we are, when we've got, it seems like no real vision to push us onto the next level, and it's a case of staying up every single year.
Yes.
I honestly don't want you to go on newspapers and talk about football is this, football is that. Focus on your own club. I know he sounds a bit simplistic, but I would rather he just does that. I don't want to see Parish talking about the great good of football and this and that. If he wants to do that, I'm pretty sure there's associations, there's some director roles that he would fit rightly into, because I think he has some great ideas. But me as a Palace fan, when we're struggling like this, and I see quotes from me even the week before about football's this, football's that on newspapers, I don't care. I don't care. What I care right now as a fan is what is going to happen with Crystal Palace Football Club. This new stand is not cutting it for me. It's very great, and I can't wait for it to be built. But I'm not going to wait here till 2026, 2027, and have that just be our main thing for the next how many years or so. Like, we need to have other ideas, and I just don't care about what he thinks about football in general. What do you think about Palace, rather than your normal generic quotes?
He's been on multiple TV shows. He was on with Gary Neville, and with one or two. He was somewhere else, and he said that he's okay with relegation. He accepts it. It might happen. He said he did, and he said we are a club that might drop into the Championship. And you know what the thing is? He is the kind of idiot that would take a risk to drop into the Championship and come back up, because for the first 2 or 3 seasons, when you come back up, there's no financial fair play. You can spend whatever you want, right?
I don't know exactly the rules around it. I can't say right or wrong. I don't know. But I know that teams that get promoted, more time is because you sold these players, lower wages, and then when you get that boost, you have a bit more of a cap. So that's why teams spend a lot. Maybe that's again. But then again, we're not rich like that for us to go spend 100 million if we was to get relegated and get promoted. I just don't see that happening in the first place. So I don't think that helps him getting relegated. Getting relegated does not help Parish by any means, because getting promoted to the Premier League is not guaranteed. Do you get it?
I think that this entire board needs to try and protect their investment in some way or another. I know, Patrick, you were saying that Parish pulls the string, and that he, what's it called? Like, they'll do as he says, which is probably correct. But
not all of them. Texas doesn't agree. Texas actually said that he regrets. He came out to and he had an interview, and he said that he regrets giving Parish power. Now the problem is, Texas said it himself, it's 2 against 1. It's Harrison Blitzer, that group, Parish versus Texas. So Texas can't really do much about it. Now I'm not saying Texas is the answer, but that's what I'm saying. There needs to be a bit of a change, because right now it's not healthy. It's not healthy.
You know what? It's not that. Like, Steve Parish brought John Textor in, so he needs to suck it up. If I'm being honest with you.
There is that as well. So that's another thing. Like, we talk about these owners, but Parish was the one that selected these owners. Now, maybe I'm being heavily like critical towards Parish, but if I'm blaming Roy for the subs, for the results, for the management, why can't I blame the guy that's running the club day to day for the decisions that he does as well? He's the one that brought in Harrison Blitzer. He's the one that brought in Texas. He's the one that makes the decisions with the manager and the transfers as well. So why doesn't he hold any blame for the decisions that we make as a football club? He's the one that runs the club day to day. That's how I see it. Like, you have to be fair. If we're getting onto Roy Hodgson, we get onto the decision makers as well. Because we can all agree here that we haven't made enough signings or made proper signings in the summer. It was a case when the summer after Vieira's first season, where we didn't sign another midfielder. And these are decisions that, yes, we might look at the scouts or Doug Friedman, but it's the person that runs the club day to day. We're not talking about Paddy McCarthy. Maybe Paddy McCarthy done tactical suggestions to Roy Hodgson today, and maybe he should hold the blame, but we don't know about that. You talk about Roy Hodgson because he's a man in charge. And right now, Steve Parish, he's a man in charge. So, of course, I'm going to get on to him for the decisions that we make.
Roy Hodgson is here. He does love the club, I'll give him that. But he is here because he loves a pound note, mate. He loves money. He does. Don't get it twisted. People who think
that's the case, though.
Listen. No, yeah. Don't get it twisted that people think that he's like romantically involved. Listen, he loves the club, it's his club, whatever, but he loves a pound note because he's 76 years old, mate, and he should not be working. Parish is 100% to blame because, one, he brought him in, and two, every time we look for a new manager, and it was the same with Vieira, he's shopping, and no disrespect to Vieira because his first season was brilliant, don't get me wrong, but he's shopping in the bargain basement for managers, and this is what I'm saying. If you're a serious football club after 11 years in the Premier League, you're going to get Oliver Glasner. You know, you're going to Brentford and selling Thomas Frank the dream, and you're paying the compensation clause, and you're investing money in the squad. That's what we should be doing. Are we going to do it? Not a hope. But that is what we should be doing, guys. And that's the most frustrating thing. Listen, we were never winning today. Chelsea have always got our number. We were never winning today, especially with Hodgson in the dugout, you know?
So what are we saying with Hodgson then? Just quickly, Stan. If he doesn't, if he thinks if he doesn't beat Brentford, do you think he'll get the sack?
I think he needs to go before that. But the problem is that Patrick has said it's either going to be Steve Cooper, Paddy McCarthy, or I'll stick a name out there. It'd be Joe Kinnear or Gary Megson. Do you know what I mean?
Joe Kinnear.
I don't know.
I know some of the fans out there thought he's so young, don't even know who he is.
Nice one.
I don't know who he is.
That
I'll be honest, I don't know who he is. But
what? You know who Joe Kinnear is? You're way too young. You're way too young.
He called Yohan Kabay Yohan Kebab.
Yohan Kebab.
Nice one, Stan. I love it.
Look,
love
Stan, always a pleasure talking to you. We're
Right,
gonna
guys,
wrap
guys,
up.
yeah.
Let's bring on the last few guests and then wrap up. Yeah. All right, then. Take
Nice
care,
one.
Stan. Yeah.
All right, take care, Stan.
Okay. Let's bring on. Oh, he's been waiting for a while as well. Palace, another defeat to Chelsea. What would you like to say? Because right now it's not just about the game. It's whatever you want to say about the club. If you want us to talk about Parish, Hodgson, the game, the manager, the players, feel free.
This club did something I didn't want to do, which was talk about Palace instead of making videos.
So what do you make of the game?
I thought we were decent, but game management killed it for us getting anything out of the game. Like first however minutes we were playing so well, and then Chelsea scored based on a slip, I believe, from Klein. And we looked terrible passing it around the back. Like you'd think we were the team 1-0 up. Then we got that goal we got that goal right before the end, and then I thought we were going to get that point, and then Eze had to. And Eze, I don't know what's happened with Eze. I don't know what.
Is he 100% fit? I think that might be the case now.
Yeah, I believe he's not 100% fit, but Roy rushed him back. He said he wanted to rush him back, and this is what happens. He's not his best.
Yeah, he isn't. So where do you stand with Hodgson then?
I want him out, to be honest.
Do you think he'll get the sack?
I want to believe he does, but if he doesn't get sacked tomorrow, he's going to get the Brentford game. If we don't win that Brentford game, then he has to go. But I don't know if they have the balls to do it.
Yeah, I think if we lose against Brentford, I think he's gone. I honestly, I think it's just we're talking about results, we're talking about performances, but the most important thing is the relegation zone, trying to stay far from it. And right now we are 3 points away from it. If we lose against Brentford, there's a big chance that Luton could get a result, and we could only be a point away from it. And I think that's where the decision is going to lie. And you know what? Hodgson's had enough time. Like I don't want it to end like this, but the way it's continuing, nothing is changing. Like we're not getting the results. It's the same old, and it's not working. And he's had the easier games, he's had the difficult games, and like any other manager for other clubs, they'll get the sack. Like our form is absolutely dreadful. We haven't won a game since the 4th of November, a home game since September, which is crazy. September since we won a home game. There's no other ways apart from getting a sack. Like I just don't see it. It is what it is. Just quickly today, in terms of the the substitutions, did you agree with them? Did you think maybe France could have came on a bit earlier? Or
I was calling out for the substitutions to come on, and then the time he does do it, he does the wrong one with bringing off Ayew, because bringing off Ayew, like if you're going to bring on someone, if you're going to bring on Schlupp, at least take him off for Eze, because that was the worst game he's ever played for us so far, Eze. And France, they should have came on much sooner. He came on as soon as we conceded that penalty, which I think that's just a troll from Roy, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, 7 minutes in the 91st minute, I don't know what else you can really do. But that's what I mean about, I said it in a live watch along as well. That's what I mean with France. France will come on if we're losing a game. If the result's going against us, it's like, all right, then we'll put on France. But if we have something, if we can push towards it, we just don't want to take that risk. I think that Jeffrey Schlupp substitution kind of sums us up. If it was 2-1, I don't think it would have been Schlupp. He might have been France. But because it was 1-1, that's when Schlupp comes into play. But yeah, it is unfortunate, but it is what it is. But look, pleasure talking to you. Hopefully, we'll see what happens, but hopefully we get a positive result against Brentford. Right now, it's looking absolutely dreadful.
Everything, it's not looking good right now.
Yeah, it is. All right then, take care. See you later.
Bye.
Okay, we're gonna wrap up the show now. Thanks to every single one of you that's tuned in live, hour and a half. Of course, there'll probably be the previews for the Brentford game, massive game for Palace. But if you haven't already done so, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Thanks to every single one of you that's left in the comments. I'll be reading them out throughout the show as well. Thank to everyone that's called in live as well. Like, subscribe, and until next time, up the Palace. Keep safe, people.